Now say something.
Testing 1, 2, 3.
Now you got sound.
Okay, how's it sound now, Dion? How am I now? Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing. Can you hear me now?
I'll double check it too.
All right, Jill's double checking it. Testing 1, 2, 3. Can you hear me? Can anybody hear me? There's 5 people on. Come on, somebody say something. Good now. All right, thank you, Dion. Appreciate it. All right, so let's see where I start off. Oh, today is October 1st, 2024. And a lot going on around here. I want to start off by letting you know the homestead hog harvest is coming up November 1st. It's going to be the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. This is all right, Belva's with us, good. This is the class where we take live hogs and we go through the entire process of processing, right? So we shoot them, we stick them, scald and scrape, eviscerate, split them in half, get them laid out on the tables. We do 2, and there's 12 people in the class. I think I have 6 people signed up so far. I mean, the class is going to go one way or the other, but I'd like to have 12. And with 12 people, you still get a lot of knife time, which is very important. And I believe that it is an essential skill. And you want to be a homesteader, what kind of sacrifices are you going to make to be the best homesteader you can be? It's probably one of the best skills that you can have. It's freeing because it kind of makes it so you're running more of your own show. You're not dependent on somebody else to do it. Okay, so it's a great class. It's going to be our 14th year. I have better facilities now than I ever have. I'm really looking forward to it. And we got some beautiful pigs that we're going to be processing. And we do touch on a little bit of charcuterie during the class. We make bacon and sausages and pretty rudimentary stuff, but it's good to get your hands in it so you can see what's going on. It's a fun class. I would like to do a class and get all of the old people to come back and do it. And in the video I made today, I said, I can even show you case studies of people who have come to the class out of necessity and then the next weekend done their own pigs. And we got Dion Stumpo with us right now. So they're one of the people that did that. Okay. There is something else coming up, and I'm duty bound to share this with you. Let's see if I can find it, though. Yeah, I know where I just saw it. Okay, it's the Preparedness Expo. It's going to be Saturday, October 19th, 2024, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., 1730 South Garfield in Traverse City, Michigan. And the keynote speaker is yours truly, me. And my subject, when the lady asked me if I would do it, and I mean, I was ready to go. She asked me, and I said, sure, I'll do it. You know, Traverse City's just up the road. And I am really thrilled to see all the people who are involved with this. And then this lady asked me if I would be the keynote speaker. And I'm just thrilled. I'm thrilled to do it. Now, the reason I'm thrilled to do it is because I would like to see everybody in this lifestyle, right? A lot of our problems go away when we're self-sufficient. It's just the way it is. And so that's coming up. It's on the 19th of October, which is kind of conflicts with the clerics having an open house that day, an open farm that day on the 19th. But maybe if I finish up early enough there, we can jet down to the clerics, because all the homesteaders around here kind of converge there. And last time we were there until way too late at night. but it's good, clean fun. Just had a great time being with kind of our own, really good time. If you haven't been there, you should go. It's sort of like, um, in some ways, it's sort of like Tribe Day here at our farm. And I really like going to other people's farms to see what they're doing too. It's a lot of fun. And there's a lot, and I met people that I didn't know, and it's just really nice. All right. All right. So I started off by saying this morning I looked at the news first thing, and I saw everything that's going on with the hurricane, and that got my attention because it's a really bad one. Apparently, it's pretty bad, and it affected a lot of people. And so far, they've already got 100 people who are known dead. So it got. I wanted to look further into it, and I did. And I started to listen to some of the testimonies that people were giving, and there were things that stuck in my mind. First of all, on the positive side, there were people that said, "Yeah, it was bad. It's the worst I've ever seen." But we got right out there and got after it. Luckily, we had a generator, and our food's going to be okay. And I've got some water purification going, and we're helping our neighbors, and we're going to be okay. I heard quite a few of them, not as many as I would have liked to. But then I heard other, I don't want to call them sob stories, because that, some people, I mean, you wind up in a bad situation. There's nothing you can do, that happens. Been there. But some of the stories that I heard, people were absolutely unprepared, and then pointed the finger at government agencies, like, why aren't they up here? The agencies were saying, well, we're going to have a drop point here, and the people had to get there. We can't get down there. Well, I heard people saying, we can't get down there. Okay. And I heard a lot of that, and that made me feel a little bit sad for those people. And I wanted to a few of them, I wanted to grab them by the collar and slap them hard across the face. Because you can be a really prepared person, and then a house drops on, or a tree drops on your camper, and the husband is killed and the wife is pinned there for 5 hours. You could be real prepared, but you can't do much about that. And we had a personal account on the tribe of that happening, right? Now, you can't, those things happen, and no matter how prepared you are, it's pretty tough to swim out of that one. But a lot of them that I heard, people did have fair warning that this was going, and had no fuel in their cars, had no way of charging their phones. They didn't have any food, and they live in what I thought was heavily forested areas, and people didn't have chainsaws. They don't have any tools to help them survive. Okay, so I heard all that, and I'm not. I just have to set this up, and so that's what I heard, and I had feelings about that, and but I'm not going to come on here and say, well, if you were just prepared, that's not the point here. That's not my point. But I heard both sides, and it made me think that there has to be a way to approach these things so that you naturally take a healthy position, a healthy and a good welfare type position as you go through life. And then one guy used the term waves of energy came through. That's the way he put it. This wave of energy that came through. And the word wave stuck with me, and energy, you know? And you think of a shock wave coming through. More, I thought of waves, water waves coming through. And I started to think about life. I started to think about, well, we need to talk about being prepared more, you know, and talk about, well, you see what's happening to them, don't let it happen to you. Okay, we've done that a lot, and I think people kind of know that. And still, it's not a way of thinking in contemporary people's lives overall. Now, a lot of you that are listening to this right now, it doesn't apply to you. You know, I'm looking at you, Stumpo. Faced with a situation, you look around and you say, well, there's a solution to this. What is it? And that's how we met, right? He had a situation where he had pigs that needed to be processed. The Wu flu came, they shut down all that stuff. And so he's got these pigs, they got to do something with them. And they came across us right about the time we were going to do Homestead Hog Harvest and signed up. And we've been fast friends ever since. You know, like there was this common ground there. It's a common spirit, I guess. Now, where did that spirit come into my life? I'm not exactly sure, but I think Boy Scouts, maybe. Be prepared, the Boy Scout motto, going places and not having things that I need, and learning to have the things I need, and then going on into adult life and military service, and, you know, going places that I'm going to be for a long time. And they say, well, you know, you should have all this stuff, but you're an adult. Do what you think is best. And you think, well, I'm not going to lug all this stuff. They'll have other stuff there. And so I don't take stuff. And then I really fret about not having what I need. And I've told you that story before where I almost starved to death. I went without eating for about 10 hours. It was horrible. Yeah. The fact that I went 10 hours without eating wasn't the bad part. The thought that I could go for a lot longer was what kept me awake that first night. But so I've learned, and I like to be prepared. Any of you that know me, it doesn't really matter where it is, unless we're in the pool. I have a Leatherman on my hip at all times, because I have learned that the one time that I say, I probably won't need it, that's the time that I need it. I went to the beach the other day, and you know, I Leatherman at the beach, for goodness sakes. And my son Joe brought his grill, and we were cooking on the grill, and then the sun goes down, starts getting cold. Hey, it's time to go. That grill is so darn hot, and we didn't really have anything to handle it with. I needed it to cool it off. Luckily, I had my Leatherman, so I was able to pick it up by a part of it, and I was able to carry it down. Well, without that Leatherman, I would have been kind of like, now what do I do? I would have had to have one of the little kids carry it until he got burned too bad, and then have another little kid carry it, right? So I had my Leatherman. It's a good thing I did. And so I like to be prepared, and I like to talk to people about being prepared. And in the line of work that I'm in, I need to be prepared for the next season, the next process. And you start thinking way out in front of your headlights, further than you can see. You don't exactly know what's out there, but I want to be prepared for it because I have an idea that it's going to be this, this, or this, right? So that's me. That's me. And it gets more intense as time goes by. right? You want to be prepared for not just the big things, but the little things, right? So preparedness is part of me. But I see a lot of people who are not prepared and they don't have that mindset and they cannot, it doesn't seem as though they can adopt that mindset because our country is killing people with comfort. We're killing ourselves with comfort, right? I think people know that. Most people that are going to be watching this understand that. So I thought, well, what's a different way to look at this? And the word wave and energy made me think of, oh, a ship, an ark. Sometimes I've referred to this farm as our ark, like Noah's ark. He had to have everything in that boat in order to sustain himself for how long? I don't think he was told. And from all accounts, I don't know if it's a true story. It doesn't matter. It's a good story. From all accounts, and they're saying that they found the ark on Mount Ararat. Maybe, I don't know. I haven't seen it. I haven't been there, but it's a good story. And so when I started thinking about the ark and being on a boat and waves, I started thinking about maritime history, and uh, our Mangalitsa pigs, have a rich maritime history, right? And I've talked about that before. They used to drop them off on islands, maybe not Mangalitsas, but other, uh, very godly pigs. They would drop them off on islands and allow them to propagate. And then on their way back through, they would stop there and hunt some of them down so they'd have fresh meat for the ride home, which is what I'm having for dinner tonight. I'm having a nice pork chop Jill's preparing for me. So when I started thinking about that, I thought, what's it like being on a boat? I've never really done a lot of time aboard a military vessel. So I don't really know, but I read a lot and I can kind of feel what that would be like. And it equates to my life on this farm, I believe. If not, it's a good story. And we have times in our lives on the farm where it's smooth sailing. It's just nice. I mean, this summer, blue skies, puffy clouds, rain at night when we need it, and you get up in the morning and it's a little crisp, but that sun hits you, and we've had a lot of that this summer. A lot of it. A lot of time in the pool, a lot of, cookouts and just mild weather to work in. Oh, it's hot. Oh, woe is me. It's hot, So I go and get in the pool and now it's not hot anymore. So I've had a lot of really good smooth sailing. But I have learned, and I'm not wanting to tell you what to do. I don't want to be that guy, be the dogmatic guy who says, well, you got to do it this way. I'm telling you what works for me and my mindset right now. Yeah, I got up this morning and I saw all this stuff about all the tough weather that hit these people. Some of them lost their lives, lots of them. A guy sitting on a roof just watching this, and then all of a sudden the building he's on collapsed and he gets swept away, him and his wife. Terrible. His daughter filmed it. Terrible. And I thought, there's people that are having really tough times right now, super tough times. Some of them were prepared for it. A lot of them weren't. So what are we in? What is this life about? When I just look at my life, there's been smooth times, but then there's been super rough times. Super rough. You don't even know if you're going to come out of it. It's so bad. And then they smooth out again. Oh, well, I guess that's it. That's behind me. It's going to be smooth sailing from here on out. Not so much. Not so much. So I think that the mindset, it really made sense to me this morning when it hit me that if we approach our homesteading careers and our farming careers, our lifestyle change into the farming lifestyle or the homesteading lifestyle, if I approach that, if I approach that as, yeah, I'm really going to savor those good times when they come, but in this clear water, in this calm water, in this good weather, I'm going to be ready. I'm going to get myself ready for the next season that I know is coming. It's not like, well, maybe we won't have winter this year. We're going to have winter this year. And I've talked to two people today. Keith Sutton was one of them. It's going to be a super mild winter. Oh, I guess I don't need to get any firewood. Keith says it's going to be nice. Well, not that I don't believe Keith, but he doesn't have a crystal ball. And I don't have the luxury of saying, well, I guess I don't have to put out any sweat on cutting wood because it's going to be nice. No, I have to prepare. I have to. And if I do things right and I cut, the wood that I need for this winter, and then it's a mild winter, oh, I get extra wood. I have wood that I didn't burn this one. And those of you that have been here recently, I've got a big stack up by the house and a big stack down by the store that was last year's wood. And we didn't use it. So it got to sit and season all summer long. So it's a bonus. It's a bonus. I like to have more on hand than I really need. So, yeah. What are some of the things that I would want on my ship that would prepare me for smooth waters and then the rough waters? What kind of rough waters you talking about, man? Oh, I'm talking about anything that could be out there. There could be really big waves. There could be a lot of rain. There could be the doldrums where you have no wind at all and you're just sitting out there and it's hot and the ship's not moving, if it's a sailing ship. So what are you going to need? What are you going to need? So if you're going on that trip and you realize, that your life depends upon your preparation for that trip, then what happens? This is what I'm trying to get to. It's a mindset change. And I do say this a lot, but then I witness amongst some of the people that I interact with that their mindset doesn't really change. Okay, storm on the horizon. I'm going to get the canned goods. I'm going to get this. I'm going to get that. Done. Done. No, if your mindset changes to this existence being here it is, a journey, or journey gets, no journey. Voyage. It's a voyage into the unknown. Voyage into the unknown. Voyage into the center of the earth with Arnold Sacknussemm, right? You don't know what's out there. You don't know what's beyond your headlights. So your mindset needs to be, well, I think I know where I'm going. I think I know what's ahead, but I'm not really sure. So what happens when that mindset changes? I know what it does to me. When I pass something that is useful, it could be on the side of the road. It could be, I find it out in the woods. I can tell you stories about finding stuff in the woods. And I don't particularly need it, but it's a good thing. I might need it. I can definitely go to the extreme. It can definitely go to the extreme. Like receipts. I might need this. It's a receipt from 1972. You never know. I may need this. You can definitely go to the extreme on it. But I don't think you will, because that extreme, you're getting into a place where your strength is diminished because you got so much stuff that I might need this. I remember a friend of mine was really like this. His brother, he was like this. We might need that. And he was studying, he was preparing to go to McGill University. If Dave George is listening to me, it was your brother Mike. And a friend of ours said, "Yeah, Ralph, uh, you'll be a surgeon someday and you'll cut off somebody's big toe and you'll say, well, I might need this someday." So you'll hang on to it. I never forget him saying that. Steve Burr was the guy that said it. He always called Mike George Ralph for some reason. I don't know. So you go to an extreme, but I don't think you would, because as an intelligent person, well, the intelligence that you have, and you're using it properly, you wind up as you go through life learning, well, I could save this big toe, but I don't think I'm ever going to need it again. So you would not save any more big toes. You might save one, but then, call a tow truck. You won't need it. And so you'll learn what to save, what not to save. But passing stuff by thinking it has no value to me is for me, it's not the correct mindset. Not the correct mindset. Because a life of correct or proper or prudent would be a good word to use there, decision making when it comes to resources and knowing that there's the unknown in front of you, leads to good decision making. And then you see that culminate when you get to be like where I am right now. I can tell you a story here. This is a good story too. I got a bunch of them. I was in Maine, and this is before I was married to Jill. And it was me and my oldest son. Me and him were on our own. We didn't have didn't have a wife. He didn't have a mother. She flew the coop for whatever reason. And we spent a lot of time out in the woods doing stuff. I lived on the base. I had base housing, and I had a little garage. I used to work on my vehicles in there and stuff. But we spent a lot of time in the woods, just going out hunting partridges and fishing and trying to hunt deer down and moose and stuff. Never did, but spent a lot of time out there making believe that's what we were going to do. And I found this old bed, and it was it was the head frame, and it was old, rusty, and a tree had grown up in between the staves on the top of it, and it had expanded it out about this big. But I just thought that would look cool if it was put back together. And I found the foot of the bed too, and it was nice the way it's configured. And then I found these, so I brought it home, and it sat in the garage for a little while, sanded it down, repaired where I had to cut it to get it away from the tree, and welded it back up. And I can't even tell right now where I cut it. I don't remember. And it's in upstairs bedroom. And how many of my kids have used that bed? You know, I used it for a while. It was a full size, and it's before I was married. I just got a full size mattress and put it on it, and made it so you could have a box spring because it was designed with like a spring array that went under it, but I didn't have that. That was gone. And we still have it. And that bed will most likely wind up in one of the cabins one of these days. And people will use that. And there's a pretty rich history. So that goes back 30 something years. And so it's still here. So when we needed a bed, we already had it, didn't have to go looking for it. And, you know, those were dollars we didn't have to spend that we could use on other stuff. There's another thing that I can think of too. And I'm thinking about this because I just put it up, but you guys know I'm building out this milk house or creamery that's next to our milking parlor, and that's where we're going to take care of all of our milk, and it's kind of central to the farm, and so I'm wanting to fix it up nice and make it look presentable for our milk customers so they can see where we handle the milk. And I needed a light to go outside the entrance to it. And I have these lights that I bought when I was here on leave from the military, visiting with Jill and her parents. Well, visiting with Jill, she was with me. And we were staying over at her parents' house, and we went to a yard sale that it was at her uncle's house, and he had these two lights. And they're the old ones, what you'd see on at a train station. And I just thought they looked really cool, and they're super old. And I asked him if I could buy them, and he says, "Oh, you can have them. Get them out of here." And so I took them back to Montana. I mounted one on the pole next to our house, and I mounted one on the barn. And when we sold that place, I took them. And so now I have them here. And I mounted one on the hay barn. Thank you, Keith Sutton. I got the trusses and the poles from Keith to build that. And the other one I just mounted on the milk house. And when I mounted it this time, I thought, that's probably where it's going to stay. Right back in Michigan, where it probably originated, I think. Who knows where they came from. But they got to be 1910-ish. And I had to rewire them both. So it forced me this time to get inside of them. And the way they were built was super quality. You know, you'd think something that's 50, 60 years old like that, you know, you'd have to get in there with a WD-40, but I didn't. I just put a screwdriver in, and the screws they broke right loose. Just beautifully made. And I didn't change them. I didn't paint them or anything. They have like an enamel coating on them, like almost like a ceramic coating, and they're green on one side and white on the bottom side. So just a small bulb in there really reflects the light down. Really beautiful. It's just kind of a work of art. So I do stuff like that. And I don't think at the time I was thinking, well, I better get this because I may be building a milk house someday and it would look really great there. And it wasn't really like that. I just thought this thing's got a lot of use left in it. This is a well-made thing that is very useful. So it had value to me, and I grabbed it. And I'm glad I did. I'm really glad I did. So there's lots of things like that, you know, there's lots of things like that. But it's the mindset of I'm getting ready for something else where I'm going, wherever I'm going. And maybe this is the final destination, and building this up the way I am doing now. I mean, I'm at a place now, I'm at 64 years old, where I'm finally finding that balance of balancing family, friends, and this facility, this place. Like, how does this place benefit my family? How does it benefit my friends? You know, and that is a weighing, you know, it's a set of scales. So if I forsook my family to just build this place up, where there's been times when I've done that. That's not good. And then when I swing the other way, and oh, hell with the farm, let's just have fun as a family. That doesn't really work either. It's got to be a balance in the middle, and it takes a while to get there. But it isn't a snapshot in time. It's a journey, right? And when I look back on where we started here till now, it's like turning pages in a book. And some of those chapters, whoop, I don't even want to read that chapter. I just want to flip right past it. And that's no joke. But some of the chapters, I want to savor every page and read it, and then go back to maybe the place and reminisce, and just feels good. Just feels real good. I feel like I'm so lucky. I'm so lucky to have this. But I don't want to give the impression that there weren't steps involved. There are steps involved in this farm homesteading lifestyle and small farming career field. There's steps. They say never pray for patience, because God will give you a farm. I don't know if that's what they say, but they say never pray for patience. But it took time. It took 20 years. Like, that's a lifetime for some people. I'm only halfway, so I got a long ways to go. But I think it's important to acknowledge that this is a voyage. It is a voyage. So when you acknowledge to yourself, or when I acknowledge to myself, when I have acknowledged to myself that, no, I'm on a voyage. I'm going that direction out there. Well, I can't see into the fog. I can't see beyond my headlights. I can't see into the future. I can't do that. But I know I'm going there, or I'm going to die trying getting there. I have a tendency to have a different attitude towards what I heard this morning. Not that I am discounting the suffrage of the people. Not at all. Not at all. It's just that it gives me a little kick in the rear end to get out the door and get this done. Get this done. Get this ready, because it could be coming this way, and you don't want to be, or I don't want to be, the guy that is sitting there saying, where the heck is FEMA? Where the heck is FEMA? I turn on the radio and all I hear is pop music. I heard a guy say that this morning. So I'm going to turn the radio off, fire up your chainsaw, and get to work there, Junior. That's what I wanted to say to him after I slapped him a couple of times. But that's me. Like, I don't want to be the guy that comes and says, well, FEMA didn't show up. They didn't hand me water. I mean, what is this? The government's supposed to take care of me. Or if Trump was in office, that's never would have happened, right? That's out of my purview now, because of the mindset that I have. The mindset that I have, and I think has served me very well. And I wanted to pass on to this intimate, small group of people that we have here. This is what has served me. And I actually made a video today, and I thought I wanted to let people know they could come to this, the Tuesday night show. And, at one time I dropped the Tuesday night show. I said, there's only 5 people showing up. Nobody says anything. It doesn't seem like anybody really cares. I'm just going to do what I got to do. I got convicted over that. I really did, because I felt like, okay, I felt like I was giving up during a time when I felt that nobody cared. Well, that's kind of short-sighted, don't you think? You know, when you back up from it and you say, hey, wait a minute, that one guy that's listening could be Keith Sutton. I mean, he needs to hear this. He was here today, by the way, so that's why I'm picking on him. And so you can't do that. You know, if you're given gifts of the ability to see through the fog a little bit, or just the blind, what is to just plunge on through, and if you can do that, you need to. I need to pass that on when I get uh, some understanding of it, which is I felt like I really got the understanding of it this morning. And there's been times when I have said to you all, hey, there's a storm on the horizon here. And there's always a storm on the horizon. It's just sometimes it looks more ominous than other times, right? So red sky in the morn, or no, it goes red sky at night, sailors delight. Red sky in the morn, sailors be warned, right? So let's say this red sky at night. Oh, we're going to take the day off tomorrow because it's going to be a day when we're not fighting the waves and pirates and other things. Well, it probably doesn't apply to pirates, but no, no, I can't do that. If it's going to be fair sailing weather and low winds, now's the time when we can take care of some of these, this rigging that needs to be reworked or, whatever. A lot of times, and Jill asked me about this today, and I said, sometimes maybe people don't understand what I'm saying when I say fortify your position, and what I mean by that, and I've told you guys this, but maybe it doesn't really make sense to people. But fortifying your position would be, let's say that you are in the military, as I was, and you've gone to a location to set up your operation where you're going to do whatever you do. Let's say you fly airplanes and you're going to fly airplanes there. Well, somebody has to be at the perimeter of that with the glasses, making sure that no bad guys are coming. And you dig a hole, and then you start with just a hole, so you're just a couple feet up above the ground and looking around. But then you want to get a little higher, so you put a row of sandbags around you, and now you're up a foot higher, and you can look a little bit better, because if there's somebody out there that's doing this back at you, he might be doing this back at you, right? And so you put up another row of sandbags, right? So what are you doing? You're fortifying your position. You're making your position better. Your sandbags are up higher. That means you can maybe stand up in your hole. You can kind of stretch out a little bit. Maybe you can make your sandbags not just one sandbag, but you could make it 2 deep or 3 deep or even 4 deep. Maybe you'd want to do that, and maybe you'd want to make it 5 feet high, so you could be up even a little higher on top of that, looking out there. Maybe. But to fortify your position, usually if I'm in a supervisory position and I'm going and checking on these security positions, and there's 2 guys in that hole and they're playing tiddlywinks, I'll say, get this position fortified. If you don't know what to do, I will tell you what to do. But if I get there and they're filling sandbags, I'll say, good on you. I'm going to move you guys to a different hole to get that one even up to speed better. But the guys that don't want to do it, they're the ones that are going to be in a hole where they're not protected, and they're going to bear the brunt of that. And I can't let that happen in a supervisory position, but I tried to pass that on to you. And I will tell you this, I have never been on a security position where there was actively people who wanted to shoot me. I have never been in a position like that. Anytime that I've done that, it was purely, well, I take that back. I got to take that back. Yeah, I got to take that back. But the majority of the time, it was just training. And we had guys that were way out there making sure that we were kept safe. And to make sure that we didn't accidentally shoot them, we didn't even have bullets, right? But there was a time, yeah, when I was actually in a position where there was people who potentially would want to shoot us so they could take our stuff, right? And when you're in that position, you know, you're very careful putting your head up. Like, well, this could be the last time I put my head up, but I got to take a look. And then you get on like, man, we got to figure out a better way to do this. This sucks. I don't want to get my head taken off here. And so you get serious about fortifying that position. You know, you really get serious about it. And I think when I saw what happened this morning, it energized me, made me want to get serious about being in a position where if something happens, I'm not the guy that is waiting for people to come, you know, dig me out or, you know, cut the trees down that are across the road so I can get out. If the power's down, I'm not just sitting waiting for power to come back on. I'm putting my generator on, one of two generators on. You know, I'm not waiting for somebody to come and bring me food. I'm good. I'm good. And I not only have plan A would probably be the fridge in the kitchen. Plan B is the deep freezer. Plan C is beef cows that are out on the field. But, you know, you could have a tornado come through and tear everything up and pull all the cows and they're all gone. And, you know, and then what's plan C? So I got to thinking about how to talk about plan C. Plan C. What is plan C? And a great thing came into my mind. I was heading out this Sunday. It was nearly 80 degrees, and we were going to have one last day at the beach. This is Lake Michigan. It's like an hour and a half away at the most. And my kids like to go there, and not just the kids that are in the home, but the kids that are out of the home that have their families. And we go, and we have a place that we go, and you know, the grandkids just have a good time. And so I think we went there. This was our fourth time this summer to go. And we were going to make one last time of it. Nearly 80 degree day, beautiful, sunny and everything. And here we go. We have our vehicle loaded up. Everybody else is gone. And we're all in communication. Oh, yeah, we just left. We should be there at this time. Spirits are high, you know, really high. We got up early Sunday, got all the work done, got the cows milked, got all the animals fed. Everybody was mellowed out because it was warm. Beautiful. And we take off, get halfway there. And all of a sudden, boom, bang, 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 bang. Durr, smoke behind me. Our Honda Pilot, 200,000 miles on it. Not much for a Honda. But the bottom of the engine blew off, you know, so complete catastrophic engine failure. Not going any further. We can't set the codes. We can't reset it, you know. And so, okay, now what? Well, normally when something like that happens, you got to call a tow truck. And if anybody's ever had to do that, I have. One time I had another breakdown, and this is a long time ago. And tow truck came. I had 3 kids with me. We had to cram in this tow truck, and then we went back to their shop, dropped off our vehicle, and we were stuck in town. And Jill had to come get us, and it was no good. You know, it was just a bad experience. And so I thought about that a lot. Well, you can get AAA. No, that just makes sure you don't have to pay for it. So what do you do? So in this situation, and this is where community comes in, and I'm hearing a lot about community from the Democrat side, old Kamala. Wow, what a trip that broad is. Oh boy. But I'm hearing that, and it's true. It's true. Yeah, community is a good thing. But don't just say we need community. How do we get community? What is community anyway? So I guess I've been friends with John Spears for, I don't know, it seems like 5 years. And it all started, we were butchering chickens for them. And he came wheeling in here with kind of a vintage El Camino. I think it was an El Camino. Maybe it was an El Ranchero, but it was an old one. And he's kind of a unique individual. So we got to talking, and I like the cut of this guy's jib quite a bit. So at that point, I was like, I want to know people like this. You know, I want community with this guy because he's got abilities, he's got a point of view on life and things like that. That's somebody that I want in my tribe, you know, instead of just whoever wanders in. And so we did business with them, car business with them. I think maintenance and a few other things. And I'm starting to look around their shop, and hey, this looks good. He's got some good guys working for him, working hard every day, always on the job. His wife works with him. She's, you know, a hard worker and has a very mature attitude for a younger person. And, you know, they're family orientated and they're going in a good direction. Not that they were always there, but they're going in a good direction. Was any of us? And so, yeah, then we bought a car from them. You know, I wanted to buy a car from them because I wanted to help their business and foster this relationship. And then we've helped them with pigs and, you know, some homesteading things, and we've spent time together socially and stuff, and it's been a good thing. So when our car broke down, it was kind of like, I got John on speed dial. Boom. Hey, I'm broke down. And he says, I'll send a truck out for you. He says, I'm at home, but the truck that's in Cadillac is closer to you, so I'll send them out to you. I said, okay. He says, you want me to send a car too? And I actually said, no, that's too much. Like, I don't know why I did that. I just did that. So my son was at the beach, and he came back and picked up Jill and the 2 boys and the cooler with the food and stuff and went to the beach. And it was hot where I was, so I wandered into the woods and sat against a tree. I hate to say this, but my phone was out of juice, so I couldn't even look at anything. I wanted to keep it so I could at least make another phone call if I had to. And so I just sat there and watched cars go by. Yeah, about 40 feet or 50 feet into the woods where it was cool. And the tow truck came, the wrecker came, and there was a car sitting on the back of it. And it says right on the side, Spears Automotive courtesy car. So that son of a gun sent a car anyway for me to use. And I got in it. I helped the guy load our car on it, talked with him a little bit, you know, found out where he's from and where we live in proximity to each other. And good guy, real good guy. I used to do that job. I drove a wrecker for a little while before I was 20. And then I jumped in this nice little Chevrolet Impala. The air conditioning was on, it was running, had a full tank of gas, and I jetted to the beach. And I was one happy camper. So I got waylaid maybe 45 minutes, maybe. And by the time I got to the beach, they had the barbecue going. I sat down. Everybody was having a good conversation, happy, eating. The beach was beautiful. I went and changed into my little Speedo, booked it into the lake, not because I was hot. I wanted the thrill of that feeling of in that super cold water and then getting out and just that feeling that comes over you. And so I had a good day. So anyway, that's community right there. That is community. Now, it may seem like a business transaction, but it isn't, because we're all going on this same voyage. John's going on that voyage. Wendy's going on that voyage. They're taking their kids along. I'm going. We're all going there. We all have a common place that we're going. There's people in this chat right now that are going the same direction. And if they needed it, they could call. If I needed them, I would call. And I have. And that is community. And that is like, in my mind, I guess I'll do it myself type guy, but that's plan C, plan D. Well, if nothing else fails and I can't do it, I'm sitting on the side of the road with a blown engine. There's nothing I can do with my Leatherman now. I got to call somebody. Well, it's a good thing I have a friend that I can call, somebody that knows, well, I'm going to have to call him someday. And I am plan B for them because they are definitely going where we are a little further down the road with our homesteading operation. That is their goal, is to be able to, not have to go to town and run a business like that. They want to eventually, but they're young, so eventually when their career in automotive comes to a place where they can move themselves to the farm and the business can run itself, I've heard that's what they would like to do. So, this meeting that we are doing here is an exercise in community, right? We know each other, right? I know Inga. Let's see what Inga's got to say here. I've broken bread with Inga before. I've stood around the campfire with her, and I don't know her real well, but I know her better than someone who I don't know at all. Keith, I know real well. Dion, I know real well. Belva, I don't know real well. Yeah, well, more than others, because Belva comes to our consulting on Wednesday nights, which we have tomorrow night, by the way. We have a consulting call tomorrow night. David Duncan, I know pretty well. And Inga, I know pretty well. And I would reckon of the 200 or so people that will listen to this on the replay, there's quite a few of them that I know really well. And there are people in that group of people that I don't know, but if the need arose, I'm quite sure that people would call me and say, yeah, you don't know me, but I've been listening to you for years, and what can I do to help? I'm quite sure of that. So when you're really building community, when you're actively building community, it's sort of like putting resources into an account that you may never draw from that account, but you may. We have the tribe, right? And we've built into the tribe for many years, that community of people. And this last summer, I think, was the 4th year. somebody can help me with that, of Tribe Day. And a lot of those people I never knew. I never knew them. But then we open up the farm on that day and they know us and they say, okay, we want to come and be, right? And you just have a tremendous outpouring of what is it? Love. It is. It's love. It is love. I think Americans have love kind of mixed up with with something else, but it really is. People come together and they know that they're in with friends, even if they don't know them, and that's good. That's good. This is the direction we need to be going here, not waiting for someone else to do it. We need to be doing it. And I think that's what impressed me this morning when I heard about these problems that are on the horizon. They didn't hit me as hard because I thought, well, the people that have just sustained all this problems down in the southern part of the United States, there's not a lot I can do about that right now. They don't even want people going there. But I can prepare myself and my family and those around me. If something like that goes down here, I will be the guy that's out there with my equipment and my saws or my rescue equipment or whatever else it is, and not waiting to be helped. I will be moving forward to help others. And that's where I want to be. That's where I want to be. Yeah, David Duncan says, Jay-Z, David called me the other day and wanted to know, he had an offer for a calf that was so many pounds for so much money, and he was asking me, is that a good deal? And I was like, I don't know. I don't buy and sell calves often. And so I said, call Justin Zilka. He's in the tribe. He will know. And so David says, Jay-Z helped me decide on path to beef cattle. Found us a good deal too. Wow, awesome. Awesome. Doesn't even know you, huh? Why should he do that for you, Dave? Huh? Yeah. So that's it. That's Jay-Z is a guy that came here for Hog Harvest and had listened to this show for quite a long time and found a place. And I watched him during that class, and he teamed up with Andy Zumwalt. Zumwalt, where are you? Get in here. And they were kind of kindred spirits, and they worked together. And Justin hung around here for a while, and he's been back here I don't know how many times. Kind of, we've got a place for him here. He's got a part of the family here. Oh, awesome. Jay-Z helped us find bred cows. Man, I need some cows. No, I shouldn't say that. I don't. Justin, you're going to hear this and say, I got a deal for you. No, I'm good. I'm letting my herd grow organically. Yeah. Okay, it's tribal. Yeah, right. It's tribal. Tribal can be meant a couple ways, Oh, they're tribal. But in a functioning tribe that functioned for years and years and years until outside elements came in and kind of knocked them off their foundation, they function quite well. And as I see it now, like the Anyone Can Farm tribe, I have no problems with the tribe. None. I think it functions really well. Really well. People post information, people ask for information, people give out information. That's the idea. If we lived in a community and let's say we met for square dance on Friday nights, you don't necessarily talk about square dancing. You just talk whatever it is you're doing. And if there's somebody there that knows something more about something than you do, that's the guy you go to and ask, hey, what's a smart way to do this? And that is missing in American society right now. And it's a vulnerability. It's a vulnerability, right? It may be missing in society. And I say, well, gee, that's too bad. The government needs to fix this. Or, if just Donald Trump could get elected, that's not the way that's not going to fix it. We have to fix it. So every one of us can build our sub tribe and then be open to other opportunities to spend more time with each other. That's why I said I jumped at the opportunity to speak at that preparedness rally and talk about solutions to the problem. Because what's happening is people all of a sudden, it's like the high beams have come on, the headlight scenario. The high beams have come on, and people who were just kind of going about their business and keeping up with the daily thing that they have to do, now all of a sudden, whoa, they see that coming, and they're like, we got to get prepared. Good. I'm glad that you're thinking that direction. That's why I'll participate in that all day long. I don't need to be the keynote speaker. I'll do whatever you want me to park cars. I don't care. I'll do it. I'll help, whatever it is. But it's kind of cool that they ask you to kind of lead off the thing in the keynote. And so I know that the keynote has to be, we can't just complain about things are screwed up. We can't. Who wants to hear that? We got to offer solutions. And in 99 times out of 100, if there's a problem, the solution exists. We just can't see it. We don't have the right perspective on it to see how this is going. Good example of that is I'm wiring up this milk house, and I'm not going off of a print. Somebody hasn't engineered it and told me what to do. I have to figure it out as I go. And part of it is, you can put light switches where you think they're going to go, but then that's where the refrigerator is going to go later on, you find out, So you have to be patient as you're going and say, well, once I get these lights in, let's see how that works. And okay, I'll put in twice as many plugs as I need, and okay. And then you kind of lean into, oh, well, I've got plenty of room in this junction box. I can run a line out here into the milk parlor, and we can have some lights out there too. I wasn't thinking of that. But you just start to see the whole thing come together as you are traveling down that road. And once it's done, you look back on it and say, yeah, I remember when I was thinking I was going to put the light switch over here. It's a good thing I didn't, because it'd be behind the door. So I'd have to open the door and then go around the door to open it up. Done that before. I've built a lot of fences, and I've taken a lot of fences down too, because I put them in the wrong spot. But that's what you have to do. You have to adjust and, change things as need be. So let's see. I saw some comments on here, and I want to comment on the comments. And Inga says, I tell you, it is absolutely amazing how fast regular citizens from all over the U.S. organized help, aid, rescue, supply drop-off without any government info. If you want, okay. Now, yeah, well, that's always how it is. Government organizations usually turn into bureaucracies and places where people go to get a paycheck. That's usually what happens. And they can't bob and weave like just people can. I say all the time when people are getting down on the area that I live, it's Dutch, and there's a lot of jokes and stuff about Dutch people. And I say all the time, yeah, well, if Hurricane Katrina had hit McBain, they would have had it cleaned up in 2 weeks and probably made money off of it. And that's the truth, because they're efficient, they work hard, and they have community. And it's a nice community. They don't exactly let everybody in. Like, I'm an outsider. I probably will always be an outsider. But I have noticed that people are actually letting me in a little bit more than they ever did in conversations, and, you know, asking me, hey, how are you doing? I'm good. How you doing? Now, they don't talk like that around here, but it's getting better. Okay. Inga also says, it's obvious we can handle many things on our own. Absolutely. Like people who work for the government, they put their pants on one leg at a time. Even in difficult situations, we just have to pull together. Right on, right on. I think, you know, the farmers are some of the most able-bodied people that exist on the planet. That's the truth. And the more diversified your farm is, the more things that you have to be good at, right? So, yeah, farmers are the ones that you are going to look to when times are tough. I was reading last night. I've told you guys before, I know I have, about the book 80 Acres. And it's a book that was written by a young man who grew up here in, I think he was born in the 30s. And he wrote about the life and times growing up in Missaukee County, where I live. And it's just maybe 5 miles, their farm is, from here. And his dad and the guy that built this farm were contemporaries and most likely knew each other because they're only 5 miles apart. But I don't know that for sure, because I don't know a whole lot about the man that built this place. I know his name and I know where he came from. And I know a man that's in his 80s right now that he was his uncle. He refers to him as Uncle Ben. And I pump him for information every time I see him. And he's the one that kind of turned me on to how the barn was designed to work. Yeah, you're using it like this, but this is why Uncle Ben built it this way. Oh, so Uncle Ben didn't come up with this design. Oh, no, these designs have been around for a long time. He was just doing a process that worked for other guys. So he did it too, milking 10 cows. And now I'm headed towards milking 10 cows. So that's why. But in the book 80 Acres that I was reading last night, I'm reading it for about the 5th time now. And I'm reading it this time to see what I can render out of it, what I can render out of the text that is going to unlock some of the mysteries of this farm. Because this farm, Baker's Green Acres now, used to be Brink's farm. My road is Brink's Road. So he's the guy that built it. And the mysteries that surround it are mysteries because they weren't recorded and nobody thought it was important, because this type of farming was long ago and far away. But I believe that this type of farming is the answer to the failure of industrial ag. We'll see, we'll see. It's working for me, though, I can tell you that. And if it works for me, I'm just an average guy that didn't have the blueprint in front of me. I just had to figure it out. Other people could do it too. And when industrial ag reaches its final destination, which it's not on a good trajectory right now. So unless something happens and it pulls out of it, the final destination does not look good. But people still need to eat. So what are we going to do? Come up with a third option? What is that? Oh, we'll start farming the moon or Venus? No, we just have to look in the rearview mirror and see, how did they do this? And they did it like that for how many hundred years before industrial ag came on the scene? All right, so I'm reading the book again. I want to tell you the quote that I read, but it was a quote by Thomas Jefferson. I'm a big fan of Thomas Jefferson. And he said, people who till the earth are doing God's work. And if you know anything about Thomas Jefferson, he was involved in government. Yeah, he's one of the founding fathers. But his passion was not government. It wasn't. His passion was farming. Because farming isn't. Oh, there's my son Sam calling. Gotta put you on hold. Farming is as diverse and deep and intricate and magic as you are, as you want to make it, or as far as you want to make that voyage go. And I have another book called The Founding Gardeners, and it's about Thomas Jefferson and George Washington, who was another passionate farmer. And I got to visit George Washington's farm. And of course, American society makes it all about Thomas Jefferson. Oh, he's a slave owner, terrible guy. You got to see through that. You know, slavery was just, it's the way it was. And they found a home on Mount Vernon. They didn't want to leave. They got treated good there. And, you know, slavery, terrible thing. But what about the poor, you know, Indians? You know, they weren't taken onto the plantation as workers and given a place to live and given clothes and food in exchange for the work that they did. They were left out in the cold. They didn't want them, you know. And the poor whites. There was no poor white slaves during that time period when George Washington was doing his thing on Mount Vernon. And I got to visit there and see that. And it was fascinating because I could see this was an enterprise. This wasn't a farm. This was a place where if there was an opportunity to do something and they could make money at it, they did it. They were right on the Potomac. They were commercial fishing. They were growing crops, field crops, cotton. They were making whiskey. They did whatever it was that they could expand the operation, you know, provide more for human beings to live. And it's just fascinating to me. I saw things there that I never thought of, right? But just really neat stuff. So there it is. There's my message. Is there any input on that message? Is there anything that you'd like me to comment on? Anything that's not clear? Okay, Keith says, how much is that going to cost to go to the preparedness talk that you will be doing? It's free. And I'm not getting paid. I'm missing out on the Declarix thing to go to it. That's why my thing is probably in the morning. And then they have a whole bunch of people that are doing, you know, how-to talks and showing off their wares and all that stuff. A lot of really good information. And I'm probably going to get to go to a couple of them, but then I might scoot out of there and head down to Declarix. I might. I'll have to see because that's hour and something that way, and Declarix is 2 hours that way. And I don't have a car right now. So, yeah, on the car front, we went the Pilot route, the Honda Pilot. It's an SUV because when we were going to buy a new vehicle, I thought I wanted to put Jill in something that was cooler because we had a Toyota Sienna minivan, And then I had the van for a long time. I wound up giving it away to somebody who broke down. Too bad. I wish I still had it. And then she junked it. Ah, terrible. I wish I had it back. I wish I had it back now. But we're going to go back to the Sienna. Going to go back to the Sienna. So I asked John if he'd look around for one for us. And they're just such nice vehicles. And when we got the SUV, we didn't take into account that we still need to put car seats in and out of it because of my grandkids. And the Pilot being an SUV, it's really hard to get car seats in and out of it. And I know I'm complaining, but the Sienna was just so much nicer, and they're less expensive. They're not four-wheel drive, but I don't need four-wheel drive. If it's so bad outside that we need four-wheel drive to drive, we're not going. So anyway, that's all I got to say. I'm going to go get some dinner. I appreciate people coming by. I hope this message finds you well. We will be having our consulting call tomorrow night, 8 o'clock. That's a Zoom call. So if you're not on Tribe Plus, then you will need to get with Jill and get on Tribe Plus if you want to come to the consulting call. It's turned out that that's the secret sauce when it comes to Tribe Plus. All the other stuff that we offered, people aren't really that interested in, but the consulting is what people want, and makes sense if you're diving into something like this and there's somebody that you can ask, how do I do this? How do I do that? You know, should I do this? Should I do that? Or at least you can have the conversation with a few people and some of them that are experts. Then the consulting call makes sense. Okay, that's at 8 o'clock. We usually say that we're only going to go an hour, but we usually go 2 hours because we're just having fun. And I am going to keep the conversation on track. So we are not going to talk about P. Diddy or Jay-Z or anything else that's going on. We're going to keep it on farming. Anything to do with farming. All right. That's it. Remember, anyone can farm, and have a good night.